Adhyatma Padavali. I express my reverence to Jineshwar Bhagwan, Bhagwan Mahavir Swami, and I express my reverence to Gurudev Tulsi, who composed this beautiful composition Adhyatma Padavali for us. In the previous session, we talked about mind and different stages of mind. And in the mind, we talked about different stages. What were the different stages? Deluded mind, distracted mind, concentrated mind, meditative mind, and beyond mind. So in a way, I thought that the chapter of mind, the stages of mind, is complete. At the end of the session, someone came to me and asked, what is mind? So I thought I had closed the chapter, but I realized I didn't even open the chapter. So today, Acharya also has realized the state of us, in a way, audience. Why? Because he gives around like 9 shlokas to explain only mind. For other things, he went into very brief. But for mind, Mantantra, he has a whole page on it. Which means, mind is the one which actually bothers us most because we understand it the most. We interact it with the most. Karma bhi hai. Who is the problem creator? You will say karma. But do we really have that, do we live with that? Like we use a pen, we can see the pen. We can't see the mind, but we can still know that there is mind going on because I can think. Karma is very subtle and is beyond our understanding even. So mind is something which is knowable, unknowable, which is we are interacting with, and still it is complex. So mind is such an entity which works as a mediator between our inner world and our outer world. So it is a source of living in a way. Because only those who don't have mind, even they live. But there is a big difference of life between a human being and those life forms, right? Those who do not have mind, like plants and others, they are not going for a social life. Social life comes into being because of this mind. For example, there are Nigod Jeev. Nigod Jeev are actually very subtlest beings who actually live in one body. There are infinite souls, innumerable souls. All are taking the breath together, they are taking birth together, they die together. Isn't that a social construction?
In a way.
In a way, they are living a social life even more complex than us. Why? Same घर, एक ही घर में 10 लोग रहते हैं. I mean, 10 people live in one house, it is fine. But if you remember, some of you might have had a university life where you had to share the same room with 5 people. How was that? Suffocating, right? So that life is a social life, but you don't choose that. It is just, there's no other choice and you go for that. So here even the Nigodji, they live a social life of one body, many souls. Right? One body, many souls, even taking the breath together, dying together and being born together. But the social life which we live as with the complexity of mind is very different. We have our individuality, we have our identity, we live independent, we interact with the others. We are constantly giving and taking something from the others, and this interaction is because of this complex mind. We build up more stronger relationship. For example, if you go by, does those Nigod Jeev ever are born after their death? Will they be ever born in hell? No. Hell is not for them. Why? They don't do such bad karmas to go into hell. So what I'm trying to say is, they don't even do such great karmas to go to heaven as well. So they live a life which is just a mechanical life going on. But we, the other day someone said that our life is like a dog. Is it like a dog? Dog actually, when he's being chased, he has to go away from that place. If he's chased from the master of the house, he goes into the street. If the street man chases him, he goes to the next street. If he's chased from there, he goes to the next street. But at the end of the day, at night, he does have a sound sleep. Right? But what about us? नींद ही उड़ जाती है. So where is the problem? It is in the mind. So what is this mind and how it works is what we are going to discuss today. And here Acharya gives 2 verses about it basically. I'll just read one. औदारिक की चेतना में होते हैं व्यक्त, भाव अशुभ शुभ ये सभी कारण है अव्यक्त. So he's talking about औदारिक भाव. And what is औदारिक भाव? Okay, so औदारिक actually here औदारिक भाव, औदारिक भाव is so there are 2 bhavs which we discussed in my previous session, औदारिक भाव and क्षयपशमी भाव. So औदारिक भाव means uday of the karma, and क्षयपशमी भाव means you kind of dilute the effect of the karma. And the mind works at the level of औदारिक body. औदारिक body is a gross body. So to understand mind, I'll just draw a chart. The first question was, is mind living or dead? जीव है कि अजीव है? Living. If I say it's dead, dead mind doesn't work, right? So basically, if you go by mind, there are 2 aspects of it. Sorry, my handwriting is not good. So 2 mind, one is dravya and other one is bhav. Dravya is physical. Bhav is psychical. So basically, when we talk about is mind living or dead, it is a combination of matter and soul. So the physical aspect of mind is material. There is a consciousness working behind that force, that is psychical, it is bhav. Now, when we have this body, where is the mind in the body?
Throughout.
All would say throughout. 100%. It's not in the brain. It's in thought. So basically we do say that brain is an important component of the body and every thinking process goes in the brain. When we look into mind as a functioning entity, there is material energy required for that and there is a soul energy required for that. Brain is a material complex machine which helps think, but it is not the ultimate of it, because as long as there is this force working behind it, it's like a bulb and the electricity, right? The bulb is there, but if the electricity is not, if you don't switch it on, the bulb doesn't function. So if a person is dead, even there is a brain, the thinking process is absent. So it's very simple and clear that yes, brain is the hardware and the software is the soul power which works behind it. This is at a gross level we can understand this. But if you go even further, Rajiv bhai said mind is in the whole body. So how do you say that mind, if we say that the mind is, the main part of the brain is actually mind in a way, Dravyaman, and on the other hand, if we say it is in the whole body, how do you resolve this conflict?
That means your psychical mind is throughout the body and Dravya mind is...
Okay. So you always want to defend somehow, right? That's a good point. That when we look into the soul, soul is everywhere, and naturally the soul is the force behind the thinking, so it should be everywhere. There is another aspect to it. If we look into the whole nervous system, right? I touched an object, I could feel the message went into the brain, and the brain said remove the finger. So who was able, there are some nerves which could sense and know that, okay, this is going on. So in a way, we could also say that the nervous system is also a part of this thinking process, and it is a part of Dravyaman, which is like in the whole body. This is one way of looking at Dravyaman and Bhavaman. Now if you go by what is the source behind these two man, right? What is the force which works behind these two man? So here I will introduce you the two karmas basically in a way. So here we say that it is jnana, this is Nam karma related, and this is Jnanavarni, which is the other one. And which is the third one?
Mohini.
Okay, I'll keep Mohini here, which is separate. And I'll tell you why I keep it separate. Sorry, I mean messy this thing, but Antarai. The first important thing we have to understand is when we have a body, what is the source of the body? Which karma? It's Nam karma. Based on the Nam karma, we would have different kinds of bodies. So for a person like a plant or others, they have a body which is, so the Nam karma, actually there are different, many categories of Nam karma. Name it as many as you can. And based on this, you would have your physical conditions. And based on your physical conditions, you would have your mind as well. So in a way, there is this Nam karma which helps us give the power of the mechanics or the machinery which comes for the mind to think is because of this one. And what is the state of this Nam karma? It is Udaya Akshayopsham. Okay, my question is relevant or irrelevant? It's irrelevant. Why? Is there any Kshayopsham of Nam karma?
No.
How many karms does the Kshayopsham happen?
4.
Yes. Now, though some of you might be thinking, where is this class going, right? Asuba, you can ask questions.
I'm observing.
It's very simple thing. There are 8 karmas which I mentioned in my previous sessions, which are 4 ghati and 4 are aghati. Those karmas which interact with the soul, pollute the soul, dilute the power of the soul are ghati karma. And we try to kind of mitigate its effect by making it less powerful. So some part of it is active, but some part of it is inactive. And I gave the example, glass with some dust. The dust is almost settled down, but some particles are wandering around, right? But in case of body, can there be partial mitigation? Body hai to hai, nahi hai to nahi hai. Living is living. Once you're gone, once you kind of delete it, it is nothing like partial deletion of the namkaram. Because you either have the body or you don't have the body. Either you're living state or dead state. Can there be half dead, half living state? It happens there, but ultimately it is a living state, right? Even in a coma state, the person is not dead. So there are 4 karmas which do not go through this partial deletion process. And that is namkaram. So here, the fruition, the uday, the fruition of this karma, the gift of this karma is the physical mechanics of the mind. Now when we come to the power of knowing, it is Jnanavarniya and Darshanavarniya karma which is a big source of knowledge. So suppose there is this brain. Everyone has a brain. But some are very good in thinking, some are dull. Some are very fast in imagining, some are dull. Some are very quick in making decisions, some are weak at it. So where is the problem? It is these karmas which actually create the problem. So though we might have the similar kind of physical construction of mind, the power source, the electricity, the soul power is because of which makes a big difference. And here we say that the Jnanavarniya karma and Darshanavarniya karma, if they are in the fruition state, what is the role of Jnanavarniya karma? To obscure your power of knowing. So if it is active, your knowledge will be sleeping. If this is sleeping, your knowledge will be up. So very simple, if we kind of dilute their power, that is kshopsham. We tried, kshopsham is very important concept which we have to understand. It means, like for example, if there is a meeting, right? Meeting supposedly be planned, and you know that in the meeting there are few people who are going to create the major problems. What do you do with them? You try to somehow negotiate, talk with them early enough and try to put them into a calm state. And there are few who would be okay. They're not that problematic. They might create questions, but we will be able to handle them. So kshopsham is that kind of process where we know that there is a strong karma which might come into effect tomorrow. We have already taken care of them, deleted them. Petty ones, it doesn't make a big difference on us. We are stronger than them, so it will be fine. So that is kshopsham, where the major block which might come into fruition tomorrow, you have done meditation today, you've got rid of it. There is petty karma which would have its fruition, but it is in pradeshodaya. I'm introducing a new word, but it's still fine. Pradeshodaya means which doesn't have a real effect on your external life. It's just at the soul level it comes and goes. So that is kshopsham. And that, because of that power of kshopsham, as you increase the power of kshopsham, the power of mind actually increases. And as this gets more effective, we lose the thinking power and other things come up.
Does kshopsham mean partial suppression, partial destruction, or just suppression? Because
no, it's not suppression. It is partial suppression, partial destruction. Complete suppression doesn't happen of even this. Complete suppression happens only of Mohniya karma. So another thing, for example, if there is anger, it's an emotion, right? You can put your anger to 0 degree for a while, which means it is there inside, but you don't give power for it for a while. You don't let it go out. It's something, like the fire pieces are being like covered by ash or something, and it is hidden inside, outerly it is nothing. So that is complete suppression, where their karma, the emotion or the moha, the attachment and aversion exists, but is completely inactive for a while. Right? But when we are talking about this, it is partial destruction, where I said a major block creating the problem tomorrow is already taken care of.
So in the example of a meeting, there have been some very problem makers. You're telling them get out of the room, and the other people mild. You are saying, so that's this partial destruction. So you told them to go out, and the other people who are there, you will deal with them. So is that
kind of? Yeah. You could say go out of the room, or yeah, actually destruction would be go out of the room. For in Kshoksha, what's happening is the karma. There are two kinds of fruition basically. If you go by the example of again emotion, one is the emotion which is going to be like at the level of your physical body, mind, chehre pe aa jata hai gussa, and the other one is it is just there at a very subtle level. You don't feel right about it, but it's still okay. You handle it. Two degrees you could see, right? One very explosive outside, and the other one is at the subtle level. Now, similarly, there are two kinds of fruition. One is at the explosive level, where at the physical level, at the gross level, at the level of awareness, where you can feel it. Like for example, bukhar aa gaya, temperature increase, or there's cold or cough or whatever. So at the physical level, you could feel those results. But there is certain karmas which actually comes to fruition, but it doesn't show its presence. Something like this. Some people attend the session, they come in quietly, walk out quietly, they don't even let anyone around them know that they had been here. Right? But some would come, even entering, they would have something shaking appearance. They would, walking out, they will let everyone know that we are going out. Another example for this. Do you see the room as clean or dirty?
It's okay. It's okay.
The women said it is okay. Let's go by the male dominant society here, so let's go by male's voice.
Depends on what day of the week it is.
For example, there is dust, right? Window pe thoda dust hoga, but does it bother us? No, it's just there. But if you had mess around here, it would have been a very different story. Similarly, the karma which comes into fruition, there is pradeshodaya and vipakhodaya. Pradeshodaya means coming at a very subtle level, at the conscious level. They don't even show that they had come and they walked out. They come, they get deleted. But vipakhodaya is where at the gross level we have an effect being visible to us. So when we say kshopsham actually means those karmas which would have an impact at the external level, you get rid of them. But those karmas which would come at the pradeshodaya level, it's okay for us and they might come in and walk out. So that is kshopsham, where there is this partial destruction and partial suppression, basically. So for example, why do we say partial destruction and partial suppression? Because the karma which is supposed to be coming tomorrow, we have got rid of it today, right? But what about the karma which is going to come day after tomorrow? So the guests which were supposed to come tomorrow, we have cleared up them. But the guests who are in the waiting list, they say, okay, now since you don't have any guests, can we come earlier now? What do you say for them? No, we have taken a vacation now, right? So there you suppress them, you stop them there, say wait, you will have to really wait for that. So that is suppression. You kind of suppress or stop the future coming karma into fruition, like the future ones, but the next ones, you've got rid of them. So the closer ones are cleaned up, the future ones are stopped. So for now, for today, I'm on a vacation. You get it, Rajiv?
But you're saying that the one which you destroy are the ones which are come in your Pradeshudai, which are not, you don't even recognize them. So those are the ones which are destroying. The ones which are
No,
at the gross
vipaka,
level, or vipak,
those which are coming at the gross level,
that you are suppressing.
that we are, no, there is two things here actually.
Destroy is a strong word. It's a deferral. Procrastination.
So basically there are, I'll just draw like day 1, day 2, day 3, right? So this is day 1, this is day 2, and this is third day. Now the karma which we'll just deal now with talking about the vipakode, the karma which really create a problem. I'll give you an example is like, for example, there is an emotional thing going in your mind related to 5 different people, and everything is like, because first day you do a job at one place and you have a problem with that person. The second day you have a different office, different client, and you have to deal with that. So you have 5 days of a week which you're working, and 5 different people or 5 different clients you're working with, and each one has its own stress, right? So for day 1, I'm talking only about Vipakode, not Pradeshade. I'll talk about Pradeshade later. So what we do is, for example, the ones which are going to come into fruition instantly, like which are in the line of fruition, right? I'm just drawing here to show that these are the ones which are in the process of instantly coming now, and they will be coming later on. So what we do is we pick this much, the next Antar Muhurt, which is going to, where the karma is going to come into fruition, you meditate, you get rid of them now. So basically this piece is cleared up, right? But the general process of fruition is, they're in a line, right? So if the few people ahead of you have walked out, you get a chance to enter into the counter early enough. So they might just enter into this area and come into fruition. But then you say, stop. You suppress them. So here it is kshay, right? You've destroyed this piece, but you have suppressed this piece. So basically, why am I saying it is partial suppression and partial destruction? Because the karma is still in the line. There are many years to live. There are many lives to live, and the process will go on. But you have solved the problem for today. Today you will not go into extreme blasting out or extreme rage, or the Jnanavarne karma will not come and block your knowledge. By doing this effort, what you're trying to do, for example, if you just pick Jnanavarne karma, knowledge, right? There is a big piece of karma which, let me take Antray. Antray actually is, if you remember in my previous sessions, I mentioned Antray is a friend of all. It is such a big culprit which supports any negative element in this karma concept. Why? Because if it is knowledge, right? The Jnanavarne karma blocks our power of knowing, but Antray karma will support that. So even if Jnanavarne karma is very quiet, it is not harming us, but the Antray karma will take that role of Jnanavarne karma and harm us. So suppose if Antray karma is there, and I have to study, I have to do my research, I'll give my own example, I have to do my PhD, right? I have to read so many literatures, but there is something coming up in between. So there is an Antray. I got some or the other problem coming up. So that Antray which comes up, if I'm trying to meditate and do my, I did fasting, meditation, different kinds of things, I got rid of that Antray through this process of spiritual efforts. And what the problem which was supposed to be coming did not show up. Do you see that? So my antrai got rid and I was able to study well. We give mantra, right? Saraswati mantra for studying. What does that mean?
Get rid of antarayakam.
You get rid of Jnanavarnikam or Antraikam, which is creating a problem. Now, how do you think will this this mantra clean up that? The most important thing is when you're doing the mantras, what is happening is you're trying to concentrate, right? You're trying to do, there are two aspects of our spiritual journey. One is samvar, the other one is nirjra. Samvar means close the door. You do not allow anything negative to enter into your. So for example, if you have a project and you have to recruit people, you want to make sure that all positive people are in the team. What does that mean? You stop the more bad karmas entering into your life, which means no more future problems. The more karmas you bind, the future possibilities of problems will arise. So we stop that, and by concentrating and repeating the mantra and trying to concentrate and meditate on the pure Arhat Bhagwan, what are we trying to do? We are trying to elevate our soul, get rid of the get rid of the karma. You go to Kshopshambhav, you intensify the Kshopshambhav, you clean up the block of today, of tomorrow, of the next day, and as you keep doing, then initially it takes a harder time to clean up the mess, right? Ek bar deeply, you've done once the deep cleaning. After that, the second day, it's very simple and easy. So some people, you would see a miraculous shift in their learning process. Even kids, sometimes they're so dull, but at one point of time, you see a shift in them. What happened? By this effort of Kshopsham doesn't just come by reading, by doing mantras or meditation and stuff. It also comes by effort of reading, understanding, try to keep making an effort, and it happens. So that effort cleans up the blockage, and then the light is up. So Kshopsham is a very simple process, but it's very important because you made an effort, right? How is this happening? It is through your effort. The moment you quit the effort, you're back into the trap of Udai. And for this, there is a very good example. I might have used it even before. If there is a frog, right, and a frog is in the pond, and this family of frogs is living inside the pond for many long time, like long decades, they have never come out of the pond. But once one of the frogs observes this, because on the pond there is too many weeds and stuff grown, and so the sun actually, they literally live in a dark world. At one point, one of the frog observes the sun shining up there, and when the sun, when the frog observes the sun is a very different entity for the frog. The frog thinks, I've never seen such an object which is so bright. I should show this to my friends. He goes in, brings the whole family of his frog. By that time, what happens? The weeds are again covered and it is gone. For the frog to keep seeing the sun, what does he need to do? Keep flapping his legs, bring some shaky water thing and then move the weeds, and then the sun will appear again. Same thing with us. If we keep making an effort towards spirituality, sometimes we drop our effort, but we are still fine. Why? Because of the force which you had worked ahead of time, it is fine. But after a while, what happens? There is a mess. Why there is a mess? Because the future karmas actually come into your way. So a constant effort. We say that, oh, I've done this much of fasting and still problems are coming to me. Why? It's very clear. You need a constant effort to keep away the effect of these karmas. Let it be mild or strong, but the effort should keep going on and on and on. It's a journey. And once you've removed the major blocks, these blocks are gone, then everything is cleared up. Is this clear? I've gone into more technical things just to see that how Jain philosophy has so many details and analysis of even the simplest things has a complex philosophical idea behind it. And if we can understand even a little bit of this complexity, especially the Kshopsham thing, that we need to get rid of the blocks ahead of time, it would actually make a big difference in our life, basically. Yeah. So any questions? I mean,
Why did you keep Mohinya Karma in the middle?
okay, yes, that's a good question. So when we talk about mind, I mentioned only 3 karmas here: Gyaravani, Prashnavani and Antran. I did not mention Mohaniya. And I mean, I mentioned it separately, but I didn't add it here. But when we look into mind, what kind of we usually have mind being taken as the activity of mind is right. So if this is the role of mind which we usually see, observe, that I like it, I don't like it, I like this weather, I don't like that weather, I like these people, I don't like that food, those people, or I like this food, I don't like this. There is constant, the mind is always thinking with the glasses of like and dislike. Yes? Most of the time. Hardly, I mean, to find a neutral state of mind and judge the situation only the way it is. It isn't easy. Many times people, when they judge things, it's because of their ego. Right? There is an ego complexity which functions behind the judgment of the mind. Or there's an attachment complexity which goes behind the judgment of the mind. When the mind decides that you have to do this, for example, you choose a project because you're too greedy. You choose a project because you're too egoistic. You choose a project because of some other jealousy or stuff that, oh, that person is doing and I should do it as well. These decisions are backed up with some kind of emotional trap. To be neutral and think that, okay, if I have to have a survival and I have to do it with, if I have to do anything, am I doing this a right job? With neutrality, not motivated by greed, not by jealousy, not by ego, not by anger, not by frustration. People have failures. And then they're so frustrated, they want to just like throw up and try to do something big. Why? That failure actually has a complexity created in them, which they think, oh, I feel I should do something big. So where does that whole trap of emotion come from? Mohinya Karma. And that is the reason Ashashi Mahapragyaji wrote a book, Kisne Kaha Man Chanchal Hai? Who says that the mind is fickle? The mind in itself is just a tool between the emotional world and a physical body. It is the Mohaniya karma which pollutes the mind. In a way, the role of mind is to think, right? So you're thinking as to what has to be done. But if your thinking is motivated by attachment or aversion, is it motivated by greed or fear? Or is it with neutrality? So that neutrality, that power of neutrality of mind is where, when we talk about stages of mind, when we go from delusion, we say deluded mind, right? And in that I gave an example of delusion of a drunken person. A person is so drunk, doesn't have a sense of where he is, what he's doing and what he's saying. What is that delusion component? The word delusion actually comes from this moha. And the moment you drop that, there is no delusion. And as long as there is delusion, there is no samyak drishti. There is no right perspective. There is no right understanding of life. We don't have patience with our own life, basically, because of delusion. And as you drop this baggage of moha, attachment, aversion, jealousy, everything going up with the mind, running with the mind, as they get milder and milder and milder, the mind is more stable and more stronger in analyzing things. The mind still is functioning. It does analysis. It does, for example, if a person has to write a report of a company working and they have nothing to do with whether the report is good or bad, nothing is profiting them or they're not losing anything. The report is with neutrality, right? They're not judgmental by their own emotion. It's just, okay, pure perspective, just see what it is and write the fact. So that ability comes when you're not holding to, you're not clutched by the different mohani. So mohaniya karma, though is not working with the functionality of mind in a way, but the way it functions, like whether it functions with neutrality or without neutrality, it all makes a big difference there. Make sense? And so here Achashi says, खेल रहा इस जगत में मानस मन के खेल चालू है यह काफिला जैसे बिना न खेल. You get it? खेल रहा इस जगत में, human beings playing a big, he's a big actor in this world. Manas मन के खेल. And what kind of play is it playing? It's all the play of mind. Chalu hai yah kafila. Which kafila? Kafila means, there's a tribal group which goes from one place to the other and then keeps wandering around. Gypsies. Yes. So are we gypsies? Mind is a gypsy and it leads us to be a gypsy as well. Why? You're all in London now, but what about 100 years back? Kahan the? What was your address? And what will it be after 100 years? This is what Ashish is trying to say. Because of this mind, we go into this trap of karma, this functioning of different kinds of things, complex world, building more karma and go and travel with the kafila. So we become gypsy, we are wandering from one place, one birth to the next, to the next, to the next. We don't have a permanent address, right? Permanent place. The reason is this complex mind behind it. So here, jaise bina nakel, he adds another thing. Bina nakel means like, if an animal is not being tied up with the owner, it just wanders around on its own, right? It doesn't have any destination and it doesn't have any sense of where it is wandering. So our journey, is it with a destination or without a destination? Abhi to ghar jana hai, right? But is that your permanent address? So when we make an effort, do we have a fixed destination where we will land up to, where we are heading to? No permanent address? Siddhalok is permanent address, isn't it? Why are you so afraid of it? So, as long as we are tied up with this mind, Siddhalok is very far off. But of course, we do try to discipline the mind, and there Achashi further says, Kalah kadagrah kutilata irshya dvesh vishad tab tak jab tak supta ho atma ka ahlad. It's a beautiful verse. Kalah means dispute, fight. Kadagra is argument and stuff. Kutilata is deceptions. Irshya, jealousy. Dvesh, hate. And Vishad is complexities like all that stuff. So this whole family of emotions tab tak jab tak supt ho. How long will they survive? Supt ho, atma ka ahlad. Until your soul, the blissful soul is sleeping, these are all awake. The moment your blissful soul is awake, they go to sleep. So they have power only and until you do not experience joy in yourself. It's a very simple thing that the joy, unconditional joy one should carry. If you see someone growing very well, if you're not satisfied with your own self, you are jealous. But if you're happy and content with yourself, are you jealous about that person? No. There is someone who has a different opinion, but you're fine with, you're happy with what you're thinking, and it doesn't matter to you what the other person is thinking. You're not like concerned, oh, I'm at a different opinion and that person is not thinking according to me and he should think according to me. Why this comes up? You lack the inner satisfaction, happiness, joy in yourself. Atma ka Allah. So whenever we are haunted by any problem, if we can keep these few verses in our mind, Kalaha Karagraha Kutilita Irsha Dvesh Vishal, tab tak jab tak supta ho, Atma ka Allah. The moment we try to see bliss in ourselves, you're fine if your friend doesn't call you. You're fine if your birthday is all by your own self and you don't have anyone around you. You're fine if you're not rewarded for what you've done because you have an inner satisfaction, inner contention, inner contentment and inner bliss. So that today we did the meditation on Anand Kendra, right? The Arham meditation. The purpose of that is to awaken your inner joy. And that joy helps you survive in any tough situation. You can smile on any big complaints coming to you. You can be okay with any tough arguments or anything for that matter. It's very simple, right? When you're happy and someone tells something to you, it doesn't bother you much. But if you're in a sad mood and someone complains you, it goes into like a blast. Very simple thing. So Atma ka Ahlad, the moment you awaken this joyful soul, everything is fine. We'll continue with this a little bit and then move into the next thing which Acharya brings up is Ashrava and Samvat, which is another interesting topic. We did talk about it, the door closed and the door open, and we'll talk more about it, what Acharya is trying to say in this verse.
Om